Hello guys. First of all, I want to say a very big thank you for the feedback and the encouragement I got from you all from the last video. I really appreciate everything, all the words of encouragement and all that. I'm really grateful. Don't forget to please click on the like and subscribe buttons, please, and you can also share the link with your friends so that we can help as many people as possible. So today we are going to be writing the pseudocode for the milestone challenge for week 5, and not only that, we are also going to be writing actual code for similar problem so that we can use this to to boost our understanding and use this knowledge to solve the milestone challenge. So first thing we need to do before you start writing the pseudocode, we have to understand the requirement. It's very important that we go through the requirement and understand it so that we have a framework that we can work with. So and one of the first requirements is that we must have a menu system that repeats until the user chooses to quit. The second requirement is that we create a list that will store the names of the items in the shopping cart. Then the third requirement is to complete the option to add the name of the item on the list. That is adding things to the list. Then the final requirement is to complete the option to display the names of the item in the list. That is going through the items and displaying each one like a loop. So so with this requirement in mind, it's easy to start writing our pseudocode. And the first step will be to start. So we start our program there. Then the next step will be to create a list of menu, because we are going to use that menu. We are going to display the menu, so the user will select a menu. So from there, our program can navigate to the right place. Then the next thing is to create a cart to store items. In this case, we are going to be using a list. A list is a data structure in Python that we can use to store data. So there are two ways to create a list in Python, either by using the square bracket or using the list constructor. We will talk more about this as we go on. And after creating a list, the next thing is to start a loop. Okay, so you can use a for loop. You can use, you can't use a for loop because we don't have we don't know the number of iteration ahead. So we are going to use a while loop. If we know the number of iteration ahead, so we can use a for loop. But since we don't know the number of iteration, so we should use the right loop that we should use. It's a while loop. Then the next step is to prompt the user to select a menu, to make their choice from the menu. Yeah. So the next step is to ask the user to use the user's input to decide the next step. So depending on the option the user picks on the menu, then we execute the next part of our code. Then after that, if the user's choice is add item, or if the user decides to buy something, so we write the code for that, which is adding things to the cart. But if the user's choice is to view the cart or view the things they have bought, we just go through the list that we are using to store the things they are buying and go through them and display them. Then if the user's choice is quit, we just break the loop and end the program at that point. Then that's the end of the program. I think with this pseudocode we have completed all the requirements. So at this point we can go straight to writing the actual code. So I figured if I should start explaining this code as I write it, this video is going to be longer than necessary. So what I think I should do right now is to just write the code. So I'm going to write the code, and when I'm done, I'm going to come back and explain the code from the start to the end, line by line. I'm going to explain everything. All right. So welcome back, guys. So we are going to be starting. Let me start explaining the code line by line. Okay, from the start, the first thing in our pseudocode is to create a list of menu. So that's what we are doing here in line 21, menu list. So we have 4 items on our menu: buy, to buy foodstuff, to buy drinks, to view order, which is to view the list of things we have bought so far. Then the last option is to quit, that's to end the program. So that will be our menu. Now we need another list to keep track of the things we have bought so far. So I'm going to call that items list. So that will be an empty list at the start. So once we are done with that, according to our pseudocode, we start a loop after creating list of menu and items list. So we start a loop. So we are going to start a while loop here because we don't know the number of items the user is going to buy. So that's why we are going to use a while loop. So we don't know the number of iterations ahead. So when you don't know the number of iterations ahead, it is best to use a while loop. So that's why we are using a while loop here. So now once we enter the while loop, we prompt the user to select an item from the menu. Okay, so and we list the menu. We use a for loop to list the menu. You can see we are using a for loop to list the menu because we already know the number of items on our menu. So that one has a fixed number. We know the number of iterations ahead, so we can use a for loop for that. Now I'm using this string format to make it look nicer and user friendly because I don't want the list, because Python list starts from index 0. It's 0 based index, so I have to add 1 to make it look nicer, so that the first item will be 1, the second item will be 2, like so. So once we are done with that, once we have listed the menu, we prompt the user to select, to pick an item. So we are expecting the user to select 1 for option 1, 2 for option 2, like so. So we have 4 options. So once we have that, we convert it to an integer so that we can use it in our program, because it's going to come in form of a string, so we need to convert it to an integer. That's why I'm putting this input inside the int method. So once we do that, in order to bring it back to the correct index, I have to deduct the one I've added here. I have to deduct the one I've added because the user is going to input 1 for the first item on the menu, and it's going to be index 0 according to Python. So I need to deduct that one to correct that. So once I do that, I can now check if the user has made a valid selection, because if we have 4 items on our menu and the user, for example, selects option 10, option 10 is out of range. It's not, our menu item is not up to 10. So we have to handle that so that our program does not crash. So if the user inputs a number that is out of range, this except block is going to handle it. So but once the number is within range, so we are going to proceed to this if statement, and we are going to check the option that the user has selected. If the option is quit, then we say thank you, goodbye, then we break the loop and end the program. But if the user's option is buy full stuff, so what we need to do is prompt the user to tell us what they want to buy. Once they provide us with the name of what they want to buy, we use this append method to add it to their items list. So we just use capitalize to capitalize whatever they have imputed to make it look nicer. So once we do that we just give them a feedback that success, food has been added to your order. And if it is buy drink option deselected, we do the same and let them know that okay, their drink has been added to their order. So and if they select view order, we just loop over their list of items that they have bought so far and print them out in the console. So that's it, guys.